Shalom. Welcome to Hebraic Awakening. It's time to eat. It's time to study. And we are studying boundaries. I think this is super important for us today, right here in 2026, to understand the Hebraic significance of boundaries from our Creator. All right, so let's study. This is not going to be a long study, it's going to be rather short, but I want to emphasize why we need boundaries. Even when we speak of mental health, we talk about creating boundaries. So when we do the biblical study, we are going to see the importance. All right, let's dig Hebrew Gabul. So let's just take a look at the ancient Paleo Hebrew, the root word of Gabul. Let's look at those letters. The Gamal, picture of a foot, to walk together. Bait, the picture of a house, family, boundary, protection, to nourish, to prosper. Because right inside of the house, those are the things that come with it, along with lineage and so forth. The lamed, the staff, the picture of a staff, a shepherd's staff, meaning authority to teach, direct. All right. So these words are inside of boundaries. You see what the Most High is trying to teach us through this word boundaries. So let's talk about it from a scriptural standpoint. We all know the sea, the moon, the stars, the earth have boundaries, landmarks that are fixed guards. They provide equity to neighbors. When we talk about landmarks, we talk about them being equated to guarding your neighbor's territory. All right. So we know that according to Torah, we are not to move our neighbor's landmark. The territory belongs to them. Let's talk about mercy, right? Cities defined so that you can find refuge, right? So let's turn there really quickly, Numbers 35, because we want to see how mercy is intertwined in boundaries. We're going to start at verse 26. But if the slayer shall at any time come without the border of the city of his refuge, whither he fled, and the revenger of blood find him without the borders of the city of his refuge, and the revenger of blood kill the slayer, he shall not be guilty of blood, because he should have remained in the city of his refuge until the death of the high priest. But after the death of the high priest, the slayer shall return into the land of his possession. So you need to read more to understand what is a slayer. But we see that the slayer is protected within the city boundaries, all right? The borders, okay? So that's one way that mercy is shown concerning borders or boundaries. All right. Boundaries create communal responsibilities. The Levites had a city inside of the borders of other tribes. This helped to weave worship, right, throughout the cities. So Gabal is also, the root is also a picture of a rope, meaning to twist. Right with hope, boundaries and hope. I'm like, whoa, okay, that's a revelation. Boundaries and hope. And we're talking about the ancient paleo pictograph and what the picture of Gabal or boundaries really is. It's a twisting like a rope, a weaving, if you will. So the Levites had cities right inside of the borders of the other tribes. The Levites were responsible for worship. So we see how worship was weaved like a twisting of a cord inside of the nation. All right, boundaries help to keep you from being greedy, biblically speaking. So Isaiah 5 and 8, let's read that really quickly. Woe unto them that join house to house, that lay field to field, till there be no place. that they may be placed alone in the midst of the earth. So, what is the Most High saying? It sounds good for many of us to go out into rural areas and to acquire 100 acres of land and be the only one living on it, all right? It's not that it's so bad, all right? What the Most High is saying that when you are acquiring wealth and you are acquiring land, you cannot buy up all the land and then live out there by yourself so you could be away from people. Now, those of us that live in North America, I hear us saying this all the time. I want to buy a piece of land and I want to get away from everybody. It is because of the culture of the country that we live in, the reason why we say this, all right? However, right, if we were back in our homeland, we would be more communal. I am not saying that you got to be all on top of each other in order to be communal, but you can't be greedy and buy up land so nobody can stay close to you. And I've heard that. I don't want nobody next door to me. I don't want nobody on the other side of me, behind me. Listen, that is trauma built within, the captivity or the exile that we as African Americans experience when we go back to Africa, the motherland. For example, they are very communal together. I remember our Nigerian teacher, she taught a Nigerian culture class at the university. And me and my husband took the class. And what she said was that when she got to the States, she was so lonely because in her, community, they were bonded together. All right. They went everywhere together. So if they was just going to the store, they went together. They did not do a lot of stuff alone. So it took her, to adjust to the American culture here by us being very individualistic. You will hear people say, I'm a loner. And I just really believe that is just trauma from what we have experienced. And remember, trauma can be passed down, all right? So you cannot just want to sit out alone and buy up all the land so nobody can live next to you. And to buy up all the land, and you see this, especially in America, kicking out people that have had land and been there for years and years and years, 2 and 3 generations, and then a big corporation come up, buy up all the land, and kick people out and leave people, poor, or they're not giving them a lot of time to either find somewhere to go. It's a lot that goes with that. So you don't want to follow in those footsteps. This is why, Hebraically speaking, we are very different. We are peculiar because of the way the Most High set up boundaries, which are rules and systems. And we're going to get there in a minute. Let's talk about Shabbat, right? Rest, boundaries, guardrails around the Shabbat. And many of us have taken the Shabbat and made it a burden. Seriously. So many people do not want to celebrate Shabbat because people have fixed these rules all around Shabbat. And then we debate what you can and cannot do on the Shabbat, right? However, rest causes Yahweh to enlarge and to protect our personal boundaries. So we must understand rest from his perspective. It's not just about ceasing from work, from physical work. It is about protecting you, protecting the land so that he is able to enlarge you. Jubilee. This particular law and cultural practice returns the property back to your bloodline. So, boundaries, borders, laws, systems, they are for our good, okay? And we want to be free, right? We are free. Those of us who believe in Mashiach, we know that he came to break a lot of the shackles of the Pharisees and Sadducees and the scribes, the shackles that they put around the Torah, where we had to obey all of their interpretations of the law, and we couldn't even obey the Most High's interpretation of the law. So Mashiach came to set us free, right? We are not free to be wild and just to do any and everything that our heart desires. We are free, right? Within a framework. And I'm looking at my notes, right? A framework, a supporting structure that's made up of ideas, beliefs, and rules. Without this framework, anarchy exists. So Mashiach came to give us freedom, but that's not freedom to do whatever we want to. And then we have just the grace and the mercy of Yah to cover us as we do whatever we want to, because Mashiach came to give us freedom. No, right? Boundaries, they create a regulated, integrated system. So what are we talking about? Boundaries create processes that are brought under order so that you can function as a whole. So there's many of us, especially those of us that are from the 12 tribes, there's many of us with different personalities, different ways of doing, different ways of thinking, and we have to come together, all right, as a whole. Um, the Most High wants us to understand that He wants to combine elements, whether it's people, things, or places. This combining, this is not random and it is not chaotic. It is managed by rules, guidelines, and standards. This brings about consistency, stability, and efficiency emerging so that things can improve. So we go back to the beginning, and the Most High is pulling out different entities and setting them in order, and He's merging them, but giving them their boundaries for improvement. The earth was void, chaotic, useless as it was. So He had to create boundaries. And every time I go to Myrtle Beach, because I live in the Carolinas, every time I go to Myrtle Beach and we get a room on the beach and we looking at that ocean, I'm like, personally, my personal opinion, there is no way I could live on the beach, because especially at night with that moon up, and we're sitting out there having a nice glass of wine, and I'm still nervous. And I know that the ocean has a boundary. It cannot cross that boundary. However, when we have hurricanes, sometimes, sometimes that ocean and that wind, the wind picks the water up and throws it over that boundary line. And I'm like, there is no way we can fight the ocean, right? It is powerful, yet the Most High tells it, you stay in place. Why? So that we can live on the land. He created the earth and He wanted us to rule. All right. What else did I want to say? Torah teaches us, all right, how we should gather together, what entities, people, places, and things, what elements should be brought together and what elements should not be brought together. And this is why I say you need to find your own tribe of people, not because we want to be separate. Okay? It is so that we can function as a whole and function correctly, right? So we all have different experiences, different walks of life, education, cultural background, especially because we've been scattered. So it is wise, right, to create boundaries and to gather with those that you can gather with, right? Because you're merging together to make a difference in the territory, the boundary, or the border that the Most High has sent you to. The problem is we don't know our boundaries. We don't know what the Most High has told us to do. All we know is that we from the 12 tribes and we have a culture and we just hate white people. I mean, I'm being a little bit facetious, but really that's where the line stops. When we talk about digging into Torah and trying to understand the Most High, we want eyes to see Him. All right? We want ears to hear Him when He speaks, not a bunch of commentary from everybody. Now, with that being said, I'm giving you a form of commentary or teaching. However, it is up to you to decide what you are going to do and how you are going to do it, how you're going to live, who you are going to link up with, who you are not going to link up with, because you have to make a difference. You have to be a light. You have a sphere of influence, and you cannot be everywhere all at once. So you just cannot join people and places and things just for the sake of unity. You have to be smart. You have to look at the Most High and how He strategically gave boundaries for specific things. So in 2026, with all that is going on, you must be careful, all right, who you join yourself to. You must create your own boundaries. I always talk about the Most High giving you your own personal Torah. I stand on that because we have different backgrounds and different experiences. He is not going to put you with a group of people who really are not ready to heal. They are just laws, statutes, and commandments. Some people He's not going to put you with because they too free. They don't understand the framework, right, of freedom, that it comes with rules, right? It comes with order and structure, right? There's a time to be rigid, and then there's a time to be, I don't want to say loose, but have a little bit more freedom, right? So I'm hoping that you are understanding what I am saying, because we here in North America, we are going through it, and it really hasn't gotten really bad yet, right? And it is because the changing of the guards. It is the system changing. And one thing we know for sure is that Blacks, African Americans, we are always not ready, right? We are always demonizing a lot of things that we should be preparing. So, what is the boundaries that He's giving you? What is He telling you to do and not to do? Right? You have to hear for your own household. You cannot put your faith and trust in man to do it for you. You can get information, you can get advice, you can get suggestions. However, you yourself have to make that ultimate choice. What boundaries is the Most High telling you to create?